Greetings, I'm Dugout Man, and you're tuning in to my highlights package for my Grassroots to Glory series with Sandbach United. I'd like to thank you for watching and hope you're all keeping safe. And so, last time we were here, it was probably a long time ago if you're watching these as they roll out, because I've not put one out for quite a few days, so I do apologise for that. Just getting a bit busy with things at home and Easter, all that sort of stuff. Loads of places to go, not really because we were on lockdown. Last time we were here, everything was going absolutely swimmingly. We beat City of Liverpool 4-0, and we get to see the return match away at City of Liverpool in our next live com, which is coming soon. For our highlights, we're going to move on to the next match after this one, which was, I believe, against 1874 Northwich. So yes, here we are with 1874 Northwich, and we scored 4 goals against City of Liverpool. And it would turn out that in this game we would find the goals again, as Hines swings in a free kick, which is met by the head of Thomas, and then Voltman, get the right name out. Davidson to Brooks, swings the ball in, Dan Smith slots home, that is 2-0. Smith loses out on a header, but it comes to Hines, who is able to take the ball and slot it home when nobody really closes him down. That is 3-0. And then just before half-time, Hines picks up the ball. A beautiful straight across to the far post where Voltman is waiting, and he tucks it home nicely. 4-0 at half-time is really good. Second half, we concede from a corner, which is not unusual, but it was disappointing to concede a goal. As you can see, we were completely dominated in that match. 29 shots to 9, 10 to 5, and yet somehow we came away comfortable winners. But it was interesting. Then we came to Congleton, and sadly there weren't really any highlights to show. It was a pretty boring game. We couldn't find a win. Again, we were a little bit dominated, and our form is beginning to dip just a little bit. So then we come to the game against Longbridge. Now this is really important game for us, and I was really worried, and I probably should have brought this as a live com, because Longbridge are, of course, the team who are closest to us in the league, and this first and second could well be the deciding match between the two. But as you can see, early doors, Porter picks up the ball to Brewster, Brewster to Crover, Porter with a superb shot put Longbridge 1-0 up, and I was getting a little bit worried at this point. Mewett with a huge kick forward, which Smith flicks on to Guy, who picks up the ball and slots it home beautifully. That was 1-1. And then into the second half, Dan Smith rising for a header. He loses out, but it goes to Moon and he volleys it home, and that is 2-1. And that was how it finished. It was a game which we were the better side. We probably deserved the victory. I'm happy to take it anyway, but it was good to see Moonen get a goal, and Ben Guy, of course, he's been quite prolific for us this season. On to the next game. So we come to the game against Bootle, and as you can see, things haven't gone to plan in this game. In the 11th minute, we have Peter Vicente sent off, but that is not before this free kick from Lloyd is picked up. I didn't see what the name of the scorer was, and I think it was Cox. But Prudo, then just before half-time, charges down the wing, swings the ball in, Dan Smith, leaping like a salmon, as it has been said, and that was 1-1. A disappointing game. We were down to 10 men, and yet it was a pretty even game with our 10 against their 11, but it isn't the only time that we struggle because of players getting sent off in this particular run of games that we're in at the moment. But it was certainly signs that not being able to beat Bootle is a sign that things are not going as well as you would hope them to. We've had a couple of games now where we're not the dominant team. In fact, Longbridge, ironically, are the only team that we've dominated in the whole of the last 4 games. So it's pretty worrying how the consistency seems to be at this stage of the season. Then we come to the cup match against Avro, and I was really hoping that this was a possibility for silverware for us, but an early penalty for Avro set us behind. Voltman found Dan Smith, who was able to run clean through in the 55th minute and slot home from quite a distance, actually. He could have taken it a bit further, but that was 1-1, and that sent it to penalties. And there's every chance that for some reason it doesn't show us all the penalties in the highlight. But it didn't go well for us in the long run. There were a lot of penalties to see, and I'm not going to commentate on them all. I'm just going to let you watch them as I scroll through now. But Moonen scored there, and I mean it was a real shame. There was a time where I thought we were going to win this penalty shootout. Voltman slotted us home nicely. Etches finishes for Avro. Dan Smith, ever reliable, slots it home. Then Hornsey misses, and that meant that we just needed to score this one to progress ourselves. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, it wasn't this one. Skerritt, I think it's missed the one where we missed. I don't know why it does this with these, but it seems to jump certain penalties for some reason. Certainly the very last penalty, very rarely ever see it on the highlights when you watch the goals. But as you can see, it was just a goal fest. Everybody was scoring the penalties. We were doing really well. Just couldn't get them to miss a penalty. And sadly, it did come down to us in the end to miss a penalty, which cost us the game. So we're down to the goalkeepers now. Brooks slots it home for us. O'Shea. And as you can see, Avro were just not missing anything. Even Mewett gets on the score sheet for us. And the penalties just keep on coming. And it didn't show us the last one, which is missed by Reiki. What could you say? That was how it happened. We were unlucky. We had chances where we could have won the game. But there we go. That was another failure in the cup. And actually, in terms of our cup progressions this season, we've failed in every single target on our club vision. So I'm a little bit under the cosh in terms of what's going on. The league is probably the only reason that I'm still in a job at the moment. Then we come to AFC Blackpool, and by the seaside we played a game, and we have an absolute calamity here with Mewett, the keeper, the ball bouncing off the post, hitting his back and going in the 17th minute. Gave Blackpool a lead, but not really a deserved lead. They weren't the best team in the game. Reiki with the ball. Guy crosses it in. Smith with a great header, pinpoint into the top corner. And that was 1-1. Another draw, and we can't afford to keep drawing these games when we're trying to keep ourselves at the top of the league. But at least Dan Smith got that goal. We dominated the game, double the amount of shots to them, and probably should have won the game. But once again, it's a match that could have gone either way. Then we come to AFC Darwin, and realistically we should be comfortably winning this game, and somehow we find ourselves within 3 minutes due to that free kick 1-0 down. Guy picks up the ball 25 yards to goal, threads it through Voltman, who slots it home. Max Voltman, max power, and that's 1-1 after 6 minutes. The game then was a stalemate all the way through till 5 minutes before full time, when Bell crossed in the ball and Greenwood, I'm sure it's not Mason Greenwood, slots it home 2-1 to AFC Darwin, and they get a win that they much needed, and we couldn't afford to lose. So I was annoyed, but that's the way it is. If you don't play well enough, you don't win. It was a close game, and so you can't complain when they found the 2 goals and we didn't. Then we come to AFC Emley, and Sandbach United were brilliant in this one. This is one of the few games where we've turned out a top performance. Skerritt, the central defender, finding himself in a funny place there, but slotting home beautifully. Then into the second half, Thomas with a pinpoint header into the corner, and that is 2-0. Volkman plays it out wide to Brooks, who puts in the ball which Volkman has run on and hits the post and then slots home into an open goal from the rebound. A little bit of concern that things could have gone wrong when they score from a free kick yet again. And that is 3-1. A few minutes before the end, Volkman with a volley, Thomas controls, pulls it back, and Dan Maguire slots home. It was a really good goal. You know, we kept them under a lot of pressure, completely dominated the game. We were playing a 4-3-3, but yeah, 64% possession. I was happy with that win. It was a game that we should be winning though, if we realistically are going to have any aspirations of promotion. Then we come to Abbey Hay. And it was to be yet more disappointment for us, really. Mo Salah, well, it's not actually Mo Salah, but it's somebody Salah, crosses in the ball for his teammate to score. Chuck scores, good goal. And then just after the half-hour mark, a long ball forward, which Caton picks up, and Chuck scores his second goal of the game. It's always the ones with a difficult name that score the goals. Reiki brings the ball forward for us in the 56th minute, slots Volkman through. I'd given up the game for lost at this point, but Volkman suddenly found a lease of life, slots home the goal. And then a little bit of luck in the 73rd minute, when the ball picks out Davidson, hits it first time. Reiki takes a shot, deflects off Salah, who caused us trouble at the other end, has now brought the equaliser to us. And so it was a game which we were completely dominant in. So I was happy with the way that we played. I'm just trying to remember what formation. I think we played the 4-3-3 again in that. Yes, we did. So we played the 4-3-3 again, completely dominated again. Possession was ours again. But somehow we just found ourselves in a right mess around the half-hour mark of the game. And we managed to pull it back, but it's still not good enough when you're chasing for promotion. And things are going from bad to worse. Yet another free kick crossed in and a beautiful header. And Runcorn Town take the lead against us. Now Runcorn are a team we've never been able to dominate in a game. But when they give a ball away here, Brooks picks it up. And Smith is able to slot home from about 10 yards out. And that was 1-1, and you would hope from there we would go on and win this game, because for the very first time we had more chances, more shots, more possession than Runcorn Town, but somehow early in the second half they get a 2-1 lead, and that was that. We just couldn't get ourselves back into the game. So once again, more shots from them, probably the same on target. Possession, we outdid them. I wouldn't say it was the biggest disappointment with this was after we were 2-1 down, so we can't blame the defeat on that. But DJ Campton Sturridge came on. He was only on the pitch for a few minutes and managed to get himself sent off. It was his real breakthrough opportunity, a nice debut in the league, and sadly he let us down at that time. But I've hoped that he will come through and start scoring some goals for us, because we're going to need him to. Because at the moment our form is diabolical and is seriously hindering our prospects of having another year with Sandbach United, because the likelihood is if we don't get promotion this year, I will get sacked. There's certainly job offers are coming my way, which would tempt me to leave this Sandbach project and move into a journeyman save if we can't get promotion this year. So then we come to Burscough. It's always been an interesting game. I very nearly live-conned this, but our form was so bad. But I wanted to at least try and get something out of one of the games before we come back. And we did in this game. It was another close nail-biter. We were playing the 4-4-2 again because I've given up on the 4-3-3 as well. We've not been able to buy a win, so I was really thankful when Smith picked up the ball from a pass from Lucky Lou and took the cross, found Guy who volleyed it home beautifully, and that was the only goal of the game. It was a game which was really tight, as we would expect. Everything was even Stevens in it, but we came away with the win, and it was really important that. And when you see the league table, you'll see how important it really was. So it doesn't make pretty reading, really. There's City of Liverpool, where we last live commed, and since then we've managed to win 5 games, but there's a lot of orange and a lot of red in there, and it's been a really frustrating time for us. I have my excuses, and we will cover those excuses in a minute, but realistically, it's not good enough. So as we look at the league table, before we come to our next livecom game, we are behind Longridge again, and we're behind them because we've got a game in hand, and I'm so thankful for that. Although, one thing I would say is Skelmersdale have been hot on our case all the way as well, so we have got to keep our eye on Skelmersdale. And maybe New Mills, they're sneaking into it from coming from far back, I think. So I'm trying to work out how many games there are, just bear with me. So there's only about 5 games left, and I think we've got 6 games left, is it? Let's have a look. Yeah, so we've got 6 games left. Most of them against teams we should be beating, but we've got to be clear of Skelmersdale before that last game of the season, because we do not want a last day showdown. We want to get it done and dusted before then. But you're going to get all 6 of these live commed in our next episode, which you will be seeing. I will be recording it immediately after I stop recording this. So both of them both are highlights that we're recording now, and the live comms will come pretty close together. But yeah, so things are not looking good. And like I say, I said I had my excuses. I'm going to bring them out now so that you don't all shoot me down. So here we go. The problem we've had is that our team, remember we signed all these players, and most of them are backup that would come through hopefully in the next year or so. But we have had our team absolutely decimated in the last few weeks. So if we look at, we're basically looking from January down. Ryan Jones wasn't one to worry about because he wasn't any, but Dylan Moonen was the first one to go to Atherton Collieries, and yeah, so I was really disappointed to lose him because he was my key, especially when we played a defensive midfielder. But certainly in the midfield, I was really enjoying the way he was bringing himself into the team. He was keeping out Vincenti, and I actually really rate Vincenti as well. So he was obviously making an impact on me, and sadly he agreed to leave, and that was that. Then we come to Tristan Skerritt. He then decided to leave to Worcester, and Worcester have got themselves a real peach of a player here. I was devastated for him to go. He's probably been one of our best players this season. He's getting games for them, so you can't argue too much. They're definitely in a higher division than us. Then Scott Wilson went to Rugby. Why he decided to leave when his main rival for a place has just gone, I do not know. He would have got places every day of the week. And then to make it worse, Bobby Thomas, once again, Colne coming in and stealing one of our best players. And we've just lost our 3 best central defenders, all in the space of about a week. Yeah, 9th of the second, 12th of the second, and 23rd of the second. And we've lost all of our best central defenders. And so we're really scraping the barrel now. And I have put out a few experienced defenders just to try and tide us over till the end of the season. But there's not a lot out there that I can find that are any better than these guys. We're going to be waiting again for the guys who get released at the end of their contracts. But yeah, the squad has been decimated. If we look at our first team squad now, I've had to promote a couple of guys. So we've got Stuart Chapman here, who I've promoted. He's okay, don't get me wrong. It says he plays like defensive midfield. We've been playing him as a midfielder when he's played his couple of games. He's done okay, nothing special, but he's a very young lad, so hopefully he can improve. Obviously, we told you about DJ Campton Sturridge. I really rate him. I think he'll be a great player for us. But sadly, not only did he get sent off, but he then got injured, so he's never made it back. And he's actually going to be out for a good 5 or 6 weeks. And I'm just looking now to see if there were any others that I promoted. But I think all the other guys were already in the squad. So, really disappointing how we've lost players at important times. And there may be more to go yet. You can see all these guys have got bids next to their names. So we could end up losing Ben Guy and Max Voltman as well. That would really take the biscuit, wouldn't it? When you look at the selection information and sort of the goals that they've been provided, 17 for Dan Smith, 17 for Voltman, 15 for Guy, 7, 6 and 4 assists respectively. That's a hard thing to say together. And then if you look at the providers, Joe Davidson's been pretty handy in providing goals for us, as has Josh Hines. And then it's down to the attackers again. And if you look at the average rating, Max Holman, Ben Guy, Dan Smith, the 3 strikers are up there with Arjan Reiki, who has been brilliant for us. I just hope we can hang on to him at least. I just can't believe how many have gone in this time. So I hope you're looking forward to this schedule that we've got coming up. Live comms against City of Liverpool, Winsford and Everton. Then Squires Gate, Barnoldswick, and hopefully we'll be home and hose before we get to Skelmersdale. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit of a catch up with all the games that we've played, and it was quite a few games, I acknowledge that. But I wanted to get to the end of this season as quickly as possible. Hopefully it'll be another season with Sandbach United, but it's not guaranteed. It's a really close finish to the season, and you're going to be here to witness it all. So until the next episode, where we get to see the beginning of this running, and hopefully not the biggest bottle job of all time. I'm Dugout Man, and I'll see you again soon. I'm out.